Good. We had some great weather the last couple of days, haven't we? Yesterday it was 64. Today it was almost 60. But we're all grateful to be alive today, right? All right. So as you all know, today is Huddle Monday, where we are huddling up. I'm glad to be back. Last week I was sick, so Patrice and Dom, filled in, and Ashley was traveling with Rev. But both of us are back, safe and sound, back at the House of Justice, and it is Huddle Monday again. And so we are glad to be here. Now I'm going to open us up in prayer, and then Patrice is going to come with our opening scripture. Let us pray. Oh, yes, sorry. 1 minute, I'm sorry. Patrice reminded me about the welcome. Again, welcome to Huddle, where we come to unite, develop, and lead and empower the next generation. Huddle was founded and started by the wonderful Ashley Sharpton. Let's give Ash a hand. And we will continue every Monday, starting at 6:15, 6:30 the latest. But we welcome you to Huddle, where we help and unite dreamers to develop, lead, and empower. That is what Huddle stands for, and that is what Huddle continues to do throughout the 10 years of being in existence that they have been doing this. All right? All right. Now, let's pray. God, we thank you for this time and this opportunity that you have brought us here. We ask that you will bless us all. Thank you for all of those that are going to come and speak on the mic. Bless every contributor. Bless every person that contributes just with their presence here. And we pray for good conversation in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Now Patrice is going to open us up with our scripture.
Good evening, Huddle family. Our scripture this evening comes from Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, verses 1 through 4, the King James Version. My son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments. For length of days and long life, and peace shall they add to thee. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck. Write them upon the table of thine heart. So thou shalt find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord, and depart from evil. It shall be health to thy navel, and marrow to thy bones. Honor the Lord with thy substance, and with the firstfruits of thine increase. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy press shall burst with new wine. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth, even as Father the Son in whom he delight. Happy is the man who findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. For the merchandise of it is bigger than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading, hearing, and understanding of his holy word.
Amen. That was a great scripture. Oh, yeah, I'm going to read that when I get home. All right. Now for our chair and director report, we are going to receive our founder, Ms. Ashley Sharpton. Let's give Ashley a hand.
Thank you, Christian. It's good to be back in the House of Justice on a Monday. I missed you guys last Monday. All right, let's jump into the action alerts by Dr. Jamal Watson. In the early part of last week, Reverend Sharpton was across the pond in the UK for a multitude of speaking engagements. He led a special presentation and talk back at Homerton College, the University of Cambridge, with Lord Simon Woolley and students, where he discussed his trip to the region 33 years ago when activists asked him for help getting justice for Roland Adams. Who was here last year for convention? Okay, did any of you go to the international panel? No? You did? Okay. Well, I was asking because Lord Simon Woolley actually convened that panel last year. So if you went, then you know exactly who he is and will be familiar with his work, and he'll be back this year to convene a panel again with Johnny Mack at the National Action Network Convention. Who's registered for 2024 convention? Excellent. Okay, so that's only 2 hands down. What's up, Sabrina? How didn't you? You're always here. How didn't you register? I can't. I need you to register, ma'am. Okay, so great. So who can tell me when convention is? That does not work here. Sabrina, you didn't register. So how can you tell me when convention is? I can't. Gina. Hello. 10 to the 13th. That's right. Clap it up for Gina. Thank you. Okay, excellent. And how much is convention? Oh, free 99. Okay, everybody knew that. All right, excellent. So there is no reason why you should not be registered for convention. Make sure why is it important to register, Patrice?
Because we need to make sure that if we telling them that we need a room for 200, we don't have 2,000 because y'all gonna be outside like Brother said on Saturday.
That's right. That's right. I know you heard her. So make sure you register nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can call, however you want to do it. Just make sure you register. But if you do not register before the 10th, can you register on site? Does anybody know? Yeah. Yes, you can. Thank you, Christian. You can yes, but you will have to wait online if you register on site. So to skip that process and to make it seamless, register online and make sure you're there from the 10th to the 13th. All right? All right. We're there all day. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So make sure you're with us. And which day is Youth and College Day? Sabrina? When is it? All right, so which day should your young people be at the convention? If they had to choose a day, they should be there all 4 days. Saturday, thank you. So make sure your young people come out all day. College students as well, all day. Anybody under 30 should be at the convention, well, period. But you have school, so basically after school, you should come on during the week. But on Saturday, y'all should be there all day. Bring your friends, bring your parents. We're going to have panels for all types of panels for young people and college students. But the tentative schedule, some of it will be released on Wednesday, so make sure you check the site daily so that you get the updates. All right? All right, all right, all right. So, to head a little divert to convention. All right, back to London. So, yes. National Action Network's first leader also spoke at the 2024 National Church Leaders Forum in London about Black church political mobilization. I was there with him. I thought it was very interesting to see Rev's impact. Of course, I know that he's an international civil rights leader. But for me to see it in person and to see all types of people from across the pond respond to him, like even from the airport when we landed, it was like, Rev, is that Reverend Sharpton? Like, and it was like, oh wow, like, and they really knew and respected him. So they weren't hurling, slurs or anything. So that was special to see. And then to see the dignitaries, we went to the House of Parliament and the House of Lords, and for them to respect him as such, it was like, wow, like that's really special to see different types of people across the way, like in a whole completely different place, respect him the same. And he literally is a boy from Brooklyn who answered the call from God. And literally now he's doing the Lord's work and basically what he was called to do all over the world. So I just, as his child, it was special for me to see that, but also as a follower and somebody who's learned from under him, it was very, very special to see his impact. And it was interesting, and I know I'm going off again, but I think this is important. But the young people, so we went to Cambridge, and then we went to the Union. And both times it was only young people like Christian's age. They were all older than Gino. But they knew so much about Rev. You could tell, of course, they do their homework, they do research. But the questions that they asked, they did thorough research, and it was important. And it was like, I wonder if the people back home know this information. Because he did it here. So it's interesting that they were so interested, they wanted to know. Somebody even asked him how he kept his faith the whole time. A young white student, he was like 16 years old. And I was just like, that's interesting that they care and that they value what he does, what they value his voice. So I just think that it's important. Our young people in the States need to do the same. And then most of them were white. So we as black people need to make sure that our children know about our leaders as well as the white people who study them. Just letting you know. That's very, very important. If they're doing it across the pond already and they're studying them, they're definitely going to be doing it here. But we have to make sure that our children know the history and know what's going on and what really happened. Because a lot of people are going to twist the history and they're going to change it into their narratives and their agenda. So we have to make sure we know what's going on. All right? All right. All right. So shouts to Lord Simon Willie. You can see the highlights about the London trip and Reverend Sharpton's speeches all over social media, all on YouTube, all on Facebook. That's our job, me and JT's, and we did that. All right, so in the midst of all of those major speeches, NAN's founder also delivered opening remarks for a presentation at Oxford Union. One of the presentations got spicy. I will say this, and I wish you were there, Christian. I really do. Because the young people, they look at YouTube, and they went back to Tawana Brawley, and they were like, oh, you said things to bring hate, hate violence, Winston. They were ready, but Rev, what I liked, he did not cower. He said, wait, what speech was that? What did I say? And he made them say exactly where they found it. And one of the young men, his source was Wikipedia. Now, what is the danger? I'm going to see if y'all know the danger. What is the danger of using Wikipedia as a source?
Anybody can change.
Say it again?
Anyone can change.
Literally, anybody can change Wikipedia. So anybody in here, if we had an opinion on a story, or if we had an opinion on someone, if you knew what to do online on Wikipedia, you can submit it, and it could be added to their Wikipedia page, which means false information and true information is on Wikipedia. So if you were a part of a debate team, you are not allowed to use that as a source because it's not a valid source. So that young man learned, we didn't mean to embarrass him, or Rev didn't mean to embarrass him, he taught him a lesson, but it was like basically you should watch your sources, especially if you're coming into a public forum and asking, So just as young people and elders, watch your sources. When you see things online, especially we love Instagram, we love to watch whatever's on, just scroll and believe it. Make sure you know the source. Make sure you know who wrote it, who said it, who posted it originally. Even sometimes on the articles, they get things from AP News and things like that. Just make sure you know the sources, all right? That's one thing that I learned from London, because that little boy, he thought he was up to something, and it was just like, no, sir. That is not the right information. All right. Moving on from London. Who is our new city councilman in this district? All right. Did anybody go to his inauguration? No? I'm sorry. Okay, so back in the States, Reverend Sharpton delivered a stirring invocation for the exonerated 5-member Yousef Salam, who is now a member of the New York City Council. Let's clap that up once more time. He reminded everyone, and shout out to Gina. She just walked in. That was perfect timing. Shout out to Gina. I know you were at the inauguration. You can still rise. He reminded everyone that no matter what they do to you, you can still rise like a phoenix if you hold on and if you stand tall. Yousef Salam is a symbol for everyone, said Reverend Sharpton. You're on your way to city council, and Donald Trump is on his way to the courthouse, Reverend Sharpton emphatically stated. It was Donald Trump, after all, bless you, who took out full-page ads in 4 major newspapers calling for the death penalty to be reinstated in New York against the exonerated 5. Reverend Sharpton praised Yousef's mother and said that he was honored to stand with Yousef and fight for justice for the exonerated 5 decades ago and through the years leading up to this momentous occasion. And shout out to Mother Salam. She often joins us on Legal Night online. She's been doing it for 13 years, and she often joins us every Thursday last Thursday of the month on Legal Night. So salute to you for continuing on your fight where you are, wherever you are. And Aaliyah, who also was a huddler here, Yousef's stepdaughter. So salute to the Salam family, and we will be with you in this fight, making sure you do what you got to do, and we sure you will. All right? What's DEI Thursdays? Who can tell me what that is? And what's DEI Thursdays? What's the action? Come on, Sandra. Mm-hmm. That's right. She's in the book. That's right. That's right. She said it. She broke that down. All right, so as far as our DEI Thursdays, who has been with us marching outside Bill Ackman's office? All right, this is our 10th week, so yeah, we need you guys whose hands didn't go up to join us. There you go, Lisa. On a Thursday, what time, Christian? 12 p.m., 12 to 1, all right? Make sure you join us, even if I get there usually around 12:30, but make sure you join us. 12 to 1, get there. It's, the weather's getting better, but it doesn't matter. We've been in the snow. Rain, it doesn't matter. As long the attack for DEI is getting worse. And y'all are gonna hear that in our Did You Know section, it's getting worse. So we have to amplify our efforts because it seems like it's not working. Back to Brooklyn, prior to his trip to the UK, Reverend Sharpton was at his homegoing church, Bethany Baptist Church. Word and Megan I saw there, and a few other members of NAN were there for Africa Day 2024 with Pastor Lacey, who is on our board, is the pastor. Nan's Justice Warrior discussed Bethany Baptist's important role in the fight for equality. He also reminded the audience that he started his activist journey in the walls of that sacred place. The theme for Africa Day 2024 was unashamedly Black, unapologetically Christian. As in years past, attendees were dressed in their best African attire. Reverend Sharpton told the crowd that we had some of the most controversial fights for justice in Black history right there in that church, and recalled the many notable and influential leaders who visited his home from Bethany Baptist Church. Last but not least, 2024 Leadership Award. Last weekend, Reverend Sharpton attended the 2024 Great American Emancipation Day Award celebration in Newark, New Jersey, where he received the prestigious Leadership Award from Positive Community. The event was organized by Positive Community, the only faith-based lifestyle magazine targeted to the African American market in the New York and New Jersey area, focused on good news from the church and the community. So Reverend Sharpton, congratulations to you. I believe everybody got Positive Community if you were here on Saturday. I believe there's a few more copies in the back. So if you need one of the magazines, they're for free. It's a great spread in there. It's also a story in Esquire, and it's a lot of stories going on around what Rev did with Vice President Kamala Harris and Selma this past week. So our leader has been getting a lot of attention, but he's out there doing the work. He's out there pushing the issues. We're going to hear more about Selma and what Vice President Kamala Harris said there, and we're looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Ashley, for that wonderful report. And just to emphasize on some things that Ashley said, make sure that y'all register for convention. Convention is about a month away. Well, yeah, it's a month away from today. And so we want to make sure that you register also. If you're traveling, say for those that live here in Harlem that don't want to go back and forth after being downtown all day, make sure you get your hotel rooms and get them now while they're not so expensive. Because by the time you turn the corner, that price will change in the blink of an eye. And so then you'll be traveling right back uptown to get to convention, all right? Make sure you register yourself and other people, and get young people to come for Saturday. If they don't come any other day, make sure they come Saturday, because we have a lot of major panels that are going to happen. This is going to be a very big convention. I believe it. I feel it. Not just because I know, but just because it's going to be good. All right? All right. And also take what Ashley said about Rev seriously. People are studying Rev. I had the opportunity to travel with Rev over the last 2 weeks. Went to Bethany, went to Jersey, went other places with Rev. And I even said to Ashley, sometimes we forget how celebrity Rev is. We see Rev every Saturday. We see Rev every week. You know, we're in the office with him, Patrice. So we're around Rev all day long. But sometimes you just have to remember the impact that Rev has on us and those that are around us. Am I right? And so I never want us to forget that, yes, he may be our leader and we may have access to him, but that does not stop the sacrifices that he has made to get to the point where he is at today. All right. So now Sabrina is coming with our Black History fact of the day. Let's give Sabrina a hand as she comes.
Hi, Huddle. Good evening. Okay, the Black History fact is, thank you, you can hold it for me, thank you. Garrett Augustus Morgan, born on March 4th, 1877, was a renowned African-American inventor who was best known for developing the traffic signal and gas mask. He gained a particular renown when, in 1918, he used the gas mask to save the lives of workers trapped in a tunnel that was filled with fumes. When the other rescue attempts were unsuccessful, Morgan was also widely believed to be the first African-American resident of Cleveland to own an automobile. He was born in Paris, Kentucky, to a former slave and son of a Confederate colonial. As a teenager, he worked as a handyman for the wealthy landowner in Cincinnati. In 1895, he moved to Cleveland, where he worked as a repairman of sewing machines for a clothing manufacturer. He was a founder of the Cleveland Call newspaper and worked on the merge that would lead to the creation of the Cell and Post newspaper. He also discovered the liquid that would straighten hair, eventually manufacturing a cream that would be a mainstream in the Georgia Morgan Hair Refining Company. Morgan died on July 27, 1963, at the age of 86.
That's it? You done? All right. Thank you, Sabrina, for that wonderful Black History fact. And I believe there's two things that she said, well, a couple of things. He helped develop the traffic light. How many people in here drive? Legally. Some of y'all are driving illegally. Driving with permits and whatnot. He helped develop the traffic light. He also developed the gas mask. Anybody in here ever been military, fire department, police department, nurses, doctors? Y'all don't really need. Well, during COVID, they were wearing gas mask-like things to protect themselves. What else did he do? He also, his parents were former slaves, and he was a son of Confederate soldiers and colonels. He also helped to develop a liquid that would straighten your hair. Well, perm, I guess it's a perm, all right. Black people still use perms? Some, okay, all right, that's all right. Well, thank Garrett Morgan for all the good things that he did and for his impact on society. All right, now we are going to have our membership in text alerts by Gino. Let's give Gino a hand. Gino's getting taller.
Good afternoon, everybody. Is everybody an updated member for the year 2024? Have you renewed your membership? If not, this applies to you as well as those who are not members. The best way to stay informed and in the action is to become a member of NAN. Stay informed about NAN events close to where you live. Text Justice followed by your state to 59769, 59769. And then every Saturday, join us at the rally to watch Rev speak.
Thank you, Gino. All right, now we are going to have the Artivism segment. The Artivism segment by Anthony. Let's give Anthony a hand. Give Anthony a hand.
How y'all doing tonight? No justice? No justice? No justice, no peace, Rob. We outside. We outside. You know how I go. You know what I mean? Okay, so I want to start this off by saying I'm most graciously thankful. I'm most humbled to be here. This is a wonderful experience. I've been telling everyone that I possibly can about the fact that NAN Arts and Culture has a segment here so that they can perform, they can showcase the things they have, clothes, pastries, rhymes, songs, poetry, whatever it is, because we want to keep things open. So before I say anything about performing, I think that the greatest performance a person has is to show off their mind. And so, to show off my mind, I'm going to show off a piece of writing that I've been working on. This is about everything holistically. I propose that there is one particle in existence moving at such a rate that the aftershadow of it creates existence as we know it on a whole. This particle is moving so fast that it creates an aftershadow of static that can be observed by the creation of itself, creating complexity as it crashes into itself in after image, constantly creating waves and moving particles. Relative to the creations, meaning us, the creation's standpoint of view. Cause an omnipotent existence of itself as it grows inwardly and outwardly, being all existence and all possibility at the same time, being at the speed of eternal instant darkness times the speed of light at the infinite power. So being still while always in motion, given balance and perfect entropy for existence. Saying that it's giving balance and perfect entropy means that while it's moving and creating all existence as everything moves around, it created a perfect space for Earth so that there can be humans. And when God created humans, it's written in the book of Genesis that it repent God that he made man because God knew how hard our jobs would be at coming together. So this is perfect entropy for existence. This is my own chicken scratch, I can't read it. The exasperation will continue relative to the relativistic conundrum on every level. Relativistic conundrum means that the gravity that is caused by the Earth spinning causes a conundrum relative to the space that it's in. So the conundrum in the space that it's in is giving us time to continue to live. Otherwise, you would not have time to live. In fact, time wouldn't exist without gravity. And all of this is hinged on the ambitions of every individual being and thing in existence. So, well, I'm not going to give y'all the rest of this. It might bust your brain. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say from my standpoint of view that after we get it all, we want to say it however we say it, so it is the Spirit itself speaking expressly through us. And as growing up, I feel like I've made some songs, and I'm going to tell y'all one of my rhymes. It goes like this. I paid my dues. It's time for dudes to pay homage. Even the Arabs in corner stores call me Muhammad. You used to see me post up. Yeah, I was grinding. I cut a little hole in my coat, working the lining. Slow money better than no money till I'm shining. Everything I cop is raw. I lick a shot with the bottle, champagne bottle. Then we pop some more, day and night. You already know my brain is taking flight. I be riffing while I'm flipping, sipping, shaking dice. I'm setting it off. I'm with my boys. Is you kidding me? You really want in? Sit here, examine the recipe. If you doing it right every week, that's 100 G's. That's enough for me. Who's next? Yeah, I'm done. You want the mic back?
Thank you.
I'll keep it.
Thank you. Give Anthony another hand, please. That was all right. Thank you, and to the NAN's Arts and Culture Department, we thank you. To our committees here, it is always good to have good committees. Am I right? All right, and so we have a lot of committees. Now I'm going to open it up to good news. I know someone wants to do a poem, so he can do the poem during the good news. But is there anybody else that wants to do good news? You can come up to the mic today. Any good news? All right, y'all, everybody don't have to come up at one time. Okay, Goldie's coming. That's all right. Yeah. It's good. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I would like to first and foremost say thank you to everyone that came out to our mental health forum. Thank you if you came and participated. I really appreciate y'all coming out. Now, this is the second Saturday for Women's History Month, and we will be wearing shades of burgundy, like the cheer color. We will be wearing that, and if you'd like to participate in Shades of Burgundy, please come out. And we will be having a medical forum, okay? We will have 3 medical doctors here in different fields speaking from 12 to 2. So please come out to join us for our medical forum this Saturday, March 9th. Thank you.
Let's give the Women's Department a hand. And they had a great forum, and if you did not hear the speaker that they had during the rally, Miss Kathleen, what was her name, Goldie? Kathleen Trigger Jones? And she is a producer. She produced many shows. Madam Secretary, Homeland, was part of Grey's Anatomy. Now, these are all my favorite shows. So I was fanboying when she walked in. I had to get her from her car. And so I'm glad that they had in the Rev Lighter and everybody. We really appreciate. Give the Women's Auxiliary one more hand. All right, come on, Gina.
Today I found out that I had a 90 on my algebra, like my grade for my algebra math class. And then I got an 89 for my ELA class. And I got 100 for my history class, social studies.
Gino has higher grades than me. I'm all right to be a B student. Dino's an A student. That deserves more applause than that.
I got to tell you, I'm a little jealous because when I went to John Jay College, I had a free, a scholarship, but I only got 9 degrees because I was too busy hanging out at the disco clubs. Anyhow, my good news, 2 things real quick. I got a degree in disco, partying. 2 things. One, my Facebook page, the Relationship Mastery Institute, is now at 220,000 followers. All right. Oh my God, I love that. The other good news is, I wish that I was here on Saturday. I was in a class teaching you how to put up a Shopify store, which I loved. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I had been begging Reverend Al to pick on me for 4 months, and then he started picking on me, and then he picked on me on Saturday. I wasn't here to hear it, so I want to know what he said. So,
I don't remember.
But I feel like that's good news, even if I wasn't here to get it. So that's all I got.
He did. He was looking for Tony.
I know.
And that wasn't you. Thank God.
Peace and blessings. My name is Jimmy J. Holloway. I'm a published poet and soon-to-be author. And this poem has been waiting around for like 5 years. I hang out with Sharpton back in the day, but I got something special for him and the Neckwood League. He only told me to say one poem, but I'm gonna sneak and say another poem because it's time. It's called Little Man, dedicated to my son. Little man, you've been on my mind. I'm your dad, son, but life's been so unkind. The differences me and your mother had made us both unhappy and sad. But time goes on and you have grown to live a life like myself on your own. Because my dad I never knew, at least you know me and I know you. So peace be with you and God up above. Be strong, little man. You can make it with mother's love. Always get a little emotional over that, excuse me. So anyway, I dedicate this one to the Action Neckwood League. As a child, I did a lot of marching. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Louis Farrakhan. I even marched for Uncle Sam. Yes, my brothers and sisters, it's time to march once again. If you haven't did it before, well, it's time to do it again. Young and old, united. The gang was always us, then it's them. Lying, stealing, words blowing in the wind. So many dying, the whole world's crying. Time to put a stop to this sin. Let not our youth's blood be shed in vain, although blood must be exchanged before anything changes. We're stronger people here now, God's people there now. All we need is pledges, oaths, and swears, believing in rights equal for everybody. That's why I march with the National Action Network Party. I know things been tough, what made you rough, trying to achieve this thing called wealth. There was never enough. Although many changes, life remained unjust. Don't be blind, there's a message in this rhyme. How long must our blood flow through the streets before those with money and power are willing to speak? So I started to write the story of blight and adjustments I made to make things right. The struggles and changes my people made from dusk to dawn. Most of them dead, jailed, strung out, proud of self gone. So I'm trying to write a story to right these wrongs. My God spoke to me in a dream. My son, you're taking too long. A book that you read won't have the same speed, but all will remember and sing in a song. Now sit down, my soldier, with paper and pen. Write straight and true, don't care who you offend. For many are called, yet few will attend. Those you thought was your enemies are now your friends. I'm that star that you see in the darkest night. When others leave, I remain through the sunlight. Excuse my emotion. Thank you.
Today, I went and got my results from the colonoscopy. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Okay, I don't know if I pronounced that right. And then if you want to help me, help me. I don't need people coming into my life. And I had a positive thing today, and like I asked the doctor, he was an Asian doctor. I asked him, does fried fish causes cancer? He said he don't know, they're working on that. They're doing work, his team, trying to find out. Well, those that need to get out there, get it checked.
Yes, get checked. Right. That's right. All right. So first, from our Artivism segment, we do not promote street work. So therefore, understand creative, whatever. But if you understood some of the things that you implied, I just wanted to say, fair warning. We do not promote selling drugs and any of that at the National Action Network. So let's be cautious when you are coming to do Artivism on the mic, that we do not promote negative activity, especially on youth night, okay? That's the first one. All right, secondly, so for the good news, I don't want to embarrass you, I'm sorry, but I saw this young brother with, I think it was either his uncle or his grandfather, on Saturday, and he decided to come. I'm happy to see him tonight on the third row. What's your name, brother? I'm sorry. Jaden. How old are you, Jaden? 18. So I just want to welcome you. Let's clap him up. Christian and Gino, make sure y'all go greet Jaden. We want you to come sit up in the circle, but I don't want to put pressure on you. But we definitely want to hear from you tonight. If you if you want to add anything or say any comments, just come up to the mic. But let's clap Jaden up one more time and welcome him to the huddle. Thank you for coming. And another thing is the Did You Know segment. One of the articles for DEI, the picture, and I think it printed weird, but Dominique's going to do the article. The picture is of Word. Sister Word protesting at DEI Thursdays. It's a huge picture of your face and your sign that you created. So it's pretty dope. So if you want to see it, we have it printout. But it was very nice. So salute to you and keep up the work.
Yes. Let's give it up for Sister Word. She made that sign herself. Come on. Our last comment, and then we're moving on.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Delilah Wright. I'm an entertainer known as Foxy Vixen, but I'm not really trying to get that out. What I'm trying to do is advocate for my children and many others who are unfortunately in a system that takes advantage of vulnerable Black and brown children and monetizes off of that in the billions. I mean, $2.62 billion a year off of our communities and our children, while our children lack education resources and recreational resources that can keep them safe and put them on a better path. They rather invest in the destruction of our children, starting as young as elementary school. 2 of those children are mine. And unfortunately, they're in a very bad place. But what we're trying to do is put more awareness out about that, because my children are not the only ones suffering. Right now, we are, there's an act, the Family Miranda Act of 2024, that's trying to get passed right now, that helps to empower families who are impacted by ACS from the initial contact, where families are known their rights so that they can help protect themselves against this predatory company, ACS. Had I known my rights, I would have not as gotten so deep into the system as I did, but I had to do a lot of self-education. And so what I want to say is, I would like this to get out more. I'm trying to get help for my children. I'm trying to get a rally started for my children. This Friday between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. in front of 900 Sheraton Avenue in the Bronx, New York, in front of Bronx Family Court. Yes, ma'am, I am hosting a rally to not only bring awareness to the Family Miranda Act that is trying to get passed right now, but also to the countless victims that have been, not only parents, but children who have been victimized by this system. It's very important that we get involved as a community and let them know that the human trafficking of our children will not be something that we support financially, and we will not pay for our oppression. We all work hard. We all work very hard, and our tax-paying dollars need to go in investing for our children and not tearing them down. And so the good news is we can come together as a community and help fight for not only my children, but others. And just let it openly be known that this is not something that we will sit back and tolerate. So I appreciate all of your listening ears today, and I look forward to getting to know all of you very much more. Thank you for having me.
What's your name, honey? So, good evening, all. I just want to say thank you, Delilah, for that information. But we're going to get you connected. We have a huge crisis department here. Debbie Clark is our crisis director, and she can definitely help be an advocate for you, get the word out, and get some wording out for you. She's also a social worker for New York City. So we'll definitely get you connected. So thank you for that. And we are praying for your kids to get home and do what they need to do with you. But that's why you're here. That's why we're the National Action Network. We believe in action. So we make sure before you leave, we'll give you Debbie Clark's information, okay? Thank you so much. And also, just to let everyone know, if you come up to our segment, which is our good news segment, we love to celebrate everything that's happening since the last time we saw you last Monday or whenever else you were here at Huddle. But if you have announcements or you have information that you would like to share with the community for us to be to come and support you or be advocates with you, please always send that to nanyouthhuddle@gmail.com. You can always send your information and announcements. Once it's approved by Ashley, then she'll let you know, hey, you can come and present it to us, okay? So let's respect that. And please don't do it the night of Huddle. We don't have time to look at that. Do it a week before it, and then next Monday you can come up and share the great news with us, okay? Again, that's nanyouthhuddle@gmail.com. Thank you all so, so much.
nanyouthhuddle@gmail.com. I'm going to say it one more time. nanyouthhuddle@gmail.com. All right? Now, y'all know I like to be on time. And so we have an hour to get 4 Did You Knows out of the way. So we're going to do some ground rules because we already messed up the good news segment. So we're going to need to do better for the Did You Know segment. We are coming up with brief comments and remarks if the presenter has questions. It is going to be Patrice, Christian, Ashley, the Dominique. Each person gets 25 minutes. We have until 8:10 to be done. Okay? So I'm saying this now. Everything is gonna be such. The topics are gonna be so good. You're not gonna want to shut up. But I'm gonna ask you to be quiet tonight. We already messed up the good news. Now let's do better for the Did You Know? All right? You are getting 90 seconds to talk. And then after your 90 seconds, we're going to turn your mic off and you're going to be seated. Y'all lucky I couldn't plug my phone in because I would have put on the music so you could be escorted down. Or what they do at the Apollo, don't they boo? I would have put the booing sound on. Be seated. All right, now Patrice is coming with her Did You Know? Let's give Treese a hand.
Thank you so much, Christian. So I just want to see a show of hands. Who's heard of the name Ramon McGee? Oh, so that's why this Did You Know is very important, so listen up. Reverend Al Sharpton to give eulogy for Ramon McGee, other Shelby County inmate who died. Shelby County, Tennessee. This is where it's happening. The Reverend Al Sharpton is coming to Memphis tomorrow to give the eulogy for Ramon McGee, a Shelby County jail inmate who died after severe neglect and severe body insect infestation, according to his preliminary autopsy. McGee family told Fox 13 that the 42-year-old was covered in lice and bed bugs when he arrived at a hospital on January 12, 2024, 2 days after he was found unresponsive at the jail, which is called 201 Poplar. Reverend Sharpton will deliver McGee's eulogy at his memorial service at Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church tomorrow, March 5th at 12 o'clock. Gershon Freeman, Dion Bird, and Marcus Donald, other Shelby County jail inmates who also died in the same prison, will also be eulogized alongside McGee tomorrow, according to the office of Attorney Benjamin Crump, who represents McGee's family. Families of all the inmates are expected to be in attendance alongside Crump and Reverend Sharpton. 2 deputy jailers were charged with murder after video was released showing a lengthy physical altercation between Freeman and several jailers at the 201 Poplar prison. You heard me say the name Dion Bird. He died after being stabbed by another inmate outside of a courtroom at the same jail. Marcus Donald had recently had his case dismissed and was waiting to be released when he was placed in the cell with Stephen Robinson. Robinson strangled Donald to death and pled guilty to his murder in November of 2023. According to McGee's preliminary autopsy, the 42-year-old suffered from a multitude of ailments due to neglect, including severe anemia, kidney disease, organ failure, and severe sepsis. Crump called the preliminary autopsy findings evidence of the abuse and treatment constantly experienced by inmates. The Shelby County Sheriff's Office released a statement following McGee's death, calling it unacceptable and saying that corrective measures have to be put in place. The jail struggles daily with mental ill residents, particularly those who refuse medication and treatment for medical issues. Some of them, unfortunately, use their bodily waste to stain their cell walls and floors. Their cells are cleaned daily and multiple times a day if needed. These cell conditions are not commonplace in the jail. Many of our mentally ill residents belong in treatment facilities, not the jail, said the sheriff's office, a part of this article. So, when I started reading the article, I heard some of your responses like, hey, I heard about this. So I'm going to ask for a few people to come up, and this is my quick question for you. Do you think the wardens of the jails, because every jail has a warden, should be held accountable when deaths like this occur in prisons? This is happening too often. Come up and tell us your thoughts. Again, the question is, do you think the wardens of jails should be held accountable when deaths like this occur in prisons? This happens too often.
Hi, good day, everybody, and God bless everybody. Yes, I believe the warden should be held accountable, and the Department of Corrections of that state, that administration should be held accountable. They should be required to make rounds in each prison and make sure that conditions are sanitary. But it's also on the staff there, because for this inmate to be literally covered with lice and other insects and bed bugs, that also affects staff. So everyone who had any affiliation with that prison, either inside or outside, is held accountable, including the DA who had the person incarcerated. They're supposed to check and make sure those people are healthy while they're incarcerated.
That's right. Say that word.
I did hear about it when Rev mentioned it on the radio about the young man. But even here in New York, every state and every rules and regulation is so different with the Mississippi laws, different laws for different states. But the whole people should be accountable for it. They should be charged with it.
Thank you.
So yes, the warden should definitely be held responsible, and the Department of Corrections, because they have protocol that they're most to follow, policies and procedures, and for documentation. And so especially when an inmate is ill or has been stabbed and they go to the medical, the nurse is supposed to be there. Everything is supposed to be documented, even if an inmate is sick in their cell. But for something to this extreme is beyond approach to how this happened and how it was left undocumented and how no one wants to take accountability or responsibility. So, yeah, I'm trying to stay under my 90 seconds.
Thank you. Thank you. Come on.
Okay. So what I'm present to is that we as a species, not just the United States or the jails, is that we don't understand the main difference between men and women. The main difference is that women, y'all need to feel safe and secure more than anything else, first. Can't breathe without that. And then men need to feel successful before we even breathe. We got to feel like we're winning, we're succeeding. And when you're in jail, they don't care about that. The only people that want to win is the people that's running the jail and the politicians. And so they don't know how to make it other people win, because if they was feeling successful, they wouldn't even be in jail. And so that's what I got.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you.
So in answer to the question, yes, someone should be held accountable, and I think that the warden should be held accountable, and then they should check the warden to see the capacity that that person has in understanding what their job is to be held accountable, because it has to be a process for everyone to understand what they're doing. So we got to figure that out, because being in jail, you're sent to deal with yourself. So we need to change the stigma of being jailed, because it's sentence, sent to deal with past, future, and present tense of the individual.
Well, he wrapped that up. So I also want to say, you know, when someone goes to jail, right, they go in to do their time, and let them do their time, but they're also human beings, right? And they should be treated like that. There's no way that this young man had lice and bed bugs on him, and that's what caused his death. Like, who's cleaning the prison? I'm sure you have a maintenance staff. Who's checking the jails? As they say, you got to go in and check out at some point to make sure the inmates are in their cells. Who's checking that? And no one saw none of this on this young man? Reverend Sharpton, again, is going to try to comfort a family whose son should still be alive. So, you know, it's hard for Rev, too, to just keep going for these funerals when people keep saying, oh, Rev, we're going to do better, we're going to do better. How many more of us are going to die before y'all do better? Let's remember this family, Ramon McGee's family, as Rev goes to Tennessee tomorrow. We pray for his safety. And we also ask for all the other individuals who we don't hear about who die in jails. We got to do better. That's why the National Action Network is on the case. Again, Reverend Sharpton is doing a eulogy tomorrow, and Attorney Crump will do a call to justice to the world. So stay in tune, stay in the know. And that wraps up my Did You Know? Thank you. I turn it back over to Christian.
Well, let her drop the mic. That's all right. Let's give Patrice and her Did You Know one more round of applause. That was a quick Did You Know. The next two, I don't know. We got to keep, yeah, we do. All right, everybody is aware of what is going on in the world, right? Some. Okay, is everybody aware of what's going on with Russia and Ukraine? Russia and Ukraine has now been going on for 2 years, since Vladimir Putin has done his attack on the Ukrainians. Is everybody aware of what is going on with Israel and Hamas? Okay. Now I want to ask the second question. Well, no. Okay, let me ask this question. Is everybody aware of what's going on in the continent of Africa? Yes. Okay, the yes has got a little less. There's wars breaking out across the continent of Africa. But before I get into that, I want to speak on Israel and Hamas. Everybody is aware of what yesterday was, right? Does anybody not know? Okay, yesterday, Rev and some folks went down to walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. I said that correct, right? And so this was the 59th commemoration of that walk. Next year will be the 60th. And I'm going to talk to Ashley because we're going to get some young people to go down there. Because if we don't know, John Lewis was, I believe, 18 or 19 when that march was first created. So that march was created by young folks, and it should be continued by young folks. But that's not what I want to talk about. The vice president went to the march yesterday, which she has been doing, and this has been started with presidents from before, including the entire first family of Barack and Michelle. They took their 2 daughters and Michelle's mother. Of course, number 45 did not go, but we already know how Donald Trump is. But what Kamala Harris did yesterday was profound. And let me tell you why it was profound. She is the highest elected official in the Biden administration to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. The president himself has not even openly, he has been talking about it behind closed doors, but has not openly come out of his mouth in front of the public eye and said that we need an immediate, she didn't just say ceasefire. The vice president said we need an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. She said even if we cannot get it for a prolonged time, we need it temporarily. And so this is the conversation that I want to have as we talk about this issue in Gaza. So, Tel Aviv, Israel, the vice president is scheduled to meet with Benny Gantz, who is a member of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu war cabinet as pressure builds for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Monday's meeting in Washington, D.C. comes one day after Harris called for an immediate temporary ceasefire in Gaza to facilitate an exchange of Israeli hostages for Palestinian prisoners and detainees. Harris is expected to continue pressing Israel to pause the fighting and allow more humanitarian aid into Gaza. So we are all aware of what happened on October 7th. Hamas, which is a group in Palestine that attacked a concert of people in Israel. Because of that, Israel has every right to defend themselves. But at this point, what Israel is doing is overkill. They have continued this war over the last 6 months. Well, more than that, because this was, 6 months. For the last 6 months. And they have been constantly attacking when there was no provoked attacks on them. As Harris and Gates meet in Washington, mediators will also be there convening conversations in Egypt to discuss the outlines of a potential agreement. Now, this is also important because Egypt is in the middle of this battle. Why? Because Egypt has completely closed their border to the people of Gaza. Gaza is about the same distance from here walking to Long Island. That is how far Egypt is from the people in Gaza. So that is not far. Many of them are walking, many of them are taking cars, but they cannot get the humanitarian aid because Egypt has completely closed their borders. So Egypt is also being brought into this conversation. According to an Egyptian source close to the talks, a Hamas delegation will be in Cairo until Tuesday, meeting with the mediators from Egypt and Qatar to broker a deal that would include a 6-week ceasefire as well as an exchange of dozens of Israeli hostages taken captive by Hamas and for several hundred Palestinian prisoners and detainees held by Israel. Gates also issued an ultimatum to Hamas to return the hostages by the start of Ramadan. As you all know, Ramadan is in 7 days. Yes, Ramadan is in 7 days, starting March 11th. Okay. According to the United Nations Fund, over 600,000 children 600,000 children are trapped in Rafah. There is nowhere safe for them to go. 600,000 children. Let's forget about the older people for just a minute, and let's think about the children. 600,000 of them are being captive and have no place to go and are trapped in one secluded area. There have been reports that the people of Gaza have been eating dog food, have no drinking water, and are living in high polluted areas with no humanitarian aid coming in or out of the Gaza Strip. If an agreement is dealt upon, the deal would be the second ceasefire deal since the start of the conflict on October 7th. For everybody that does not know, there was a brief ceasefire for about 24 hours, which allowed for some people to be released, but not all of them. Children are dying at alarming rates. The humanitarian situation in Gaza is spiraling out of control, with at least a quarter of the 2.2 million residents now one step away from famine. So not only are they eating dog food, have not good drinking water, and are polluted in certain things, but now a quarter of them are on the next level of almost being completely in famine. And so I have one more point that I want to get to. However, in a Facebook post by a member of the National Unity Party, they wrote, "There is indeed one prime minister for Israel, but we also have one Israel, and anyone who can help for its success in this war must do so. Now it's time to put the ego aside, put political calculations aside, and become concrete on a partnership to benefit the state of Israel." Even before the war, there was a rift between Netanyahu and Gates. Don't forget, Gates is the lead person beside their Secretary of Defense. Netanyahu is receiving a lot of backlash in his own country. People don't understand that. People have been protesting against Netanyahu before the October 7th attack. Netanyahu was on the verge of being unelected. People don't know that right before the attack, the man was on the verge of being impeached in Israel because the people had enough of him. Members of his own cabinet were going against him. This is the same thing that's happening in Russia and all across the world. And so that is why I believe what Rev says to us on Saturdays. Rev says, National Action Network does not stand for any form of violence. What happened on October 7th was a tragedy, and we understand that. But what is happening with Israel continuing to attack Hamas with no provocation? Nothing is going on. There have been no reported attacks in Israel that Hamas has been doing, but Israel has constantly been attacking Hamas. And so because of that, now you have children that are dying at alarming rates. You have a country that is on the verge of complete famine. This is already a country that does not have the best economy. We have to understand that. So I want you all to understand that this is bigger than what we just think. This is bigger than just saying to ourselves that this is an issue in the other side of the world. We don't need to be bothered with it. This is going to affect us here. And so I am glad that the Vice President of the United States opened her mouth at the foot of the Edmund Pettus Bridge, which is already historic in that moment for her just walking across the bridge, the same place where John Lewis said that his blood was spilled on that same bridge. That innocent people in Gaza, their blood is splattered on that land. That the vice president stood behind the podium that many other people have stood behind, but her being the first female vice president to be that of a woman and to be that of African descent on both sides of her family. Her dad is Jamaican, her mother is Indian, a little bit more of the north side from what I was reading. But my question to you all, what are the steps that need to be taken from our perspective here in America? We're glad that the vice president has called for the 6-week ceasefire, because we're not going to get anywhere with a long term right now. You got to take baby steps. So, how do you all feel about the war that is going on in Israel right now? Because it is going to affect us sooner or later. A lot of oil is on that side of the world. We need oil. A lot of gas is on that side of the world. We need gas. This war with Israel and Hamas is getting out of control, and it is time for a true ceasefire today. Anybody have any comments on Israel and Hamas? Any comments? 90 seconds.
What we need to do is continue what Rev was doing before and continue to pray and fast. Because of the fact that it's written that in the last days it should be wars and rumors of wars. History will repeat itself. So either it's going to repeat itself the way that it did when the great flood came, or the way that it happened when the people of Nineveh got down in sackcloth and ashes. And Greg Braden has done studies, or seen studies, talked about studies from colleges when they take communities and a correct amount of people are geared towards the same exact thing. So we need we need more people to give a stronger vibration towards stopping than the vibration that we have towards keeping violence up.
That's good.
Okay, I believe in faith and works. And the United States at this point needs to be more disciplined in what they need to say to Netanyahu. Let him know particularly they want this war to stop. Therefore, whatever resources they are giving to Israel pertaining to this war, and the United States is funding them with weapons, cut it off. Amen. And when they cut it off, then they'll have a ceasefire, and they now can help these people in Gaza. Because obviously, militarily, Gaza is no match for Israel. It's already shown that way. So they really need to understand, help these civilians in Gaza, which also helps civilians in Israel too, because people are getting killed on both sides, because they won't do a ceasefire in the way they need to. The only solution is a two-state resolution. Now, they don't want to face that reality. It is the reality. And that needs to be the point. It has to be a two-state. The sooner you get to it, the more people will be alive and well. Thank you.
All right.
as I was at the age of 16 listening to this, listening to those Palestinians, they were at war, not just with January 7th, or you said January 6th?
October 7th.
Well, October 7th, they've been at war with them people years and years ago, and they're still doing it. So when I was watching the news and I was looking at these young brothers throwing rocks at them, and they didn't have guns, and those was the people, they were Muslims fighting against the Jews. The Jews, they got some problems too, and you think they don't. Don't think that they're all righteous, all of them. Don't think they're all righteous, because they're not.
All right. Give everybody a hand that came up and spoke. So I'm going to close with this because I don't want to talk all night. But let me say this. This war even goes back from before she was even born. People don't know that this war is very biblical. They have been fighting over this land for centuries. Israel and Hamas, this is nothing new. And let's also understand this. We have to understand the historical context of everything that is going on. The Israel that we have now is not the Israel of the Bible. The Jewish people that we have now are not the Jewish people of the Bible. This land that Israel is on is technically not biblical land. People don't know that. Jerusalem has moved several times. It moved several times. When the Egyptians, now first let me say this. Not all people always say, oh, the Egyptians weren't black. Egyptians were black. Most of them were black. And the Jewish people were enslaved by the Egyptians. Am I right? Most pharaohs, even the Egyptians, have pictures of black pharaohs. When Israel had moved over into Canaan and they had moved, that was not modern day Israel. Israel had moved and became a state in what, 1947, 48. That land they claimed to themselves. Half of it truly does belong to the Muslim population. And we have to understand, as Sister Word said, that maybe the only way that this war can be settled is if we have a two-state policy. That has been it for years. And let me also tell you this. Hamas is being backed by Iran. Iran is being backed by Russia. Israel is being backed by the United States. So there is only a matter of time until Iran is taken out of the picture. There is only a matter of time that what's going on in the Congo is taken out of the picture, that what's going on in Niger and all these other places in Africa, because people are just talking about the war in Israel and Hamas, but we have to address the humanitarian crisis that is happening across Africa. Across Africa. And it is coming from colonizing countries, but that's a whole different conversation. Actually, I'm going to give you the article for next week. But I'm done, really, I'm done. But it's just a matter of time until Israel and Hamas are taken out of the picture, and this is a war between Russia and the United States. And we have to understand that this is going to affect us more. And America, President Biden, thank you, Vice President Harris, for saying that, but America needs to cut off their supply of weapons. They need to cut off their supply of money. Anything that can back Israel in this war, this unjust war, because now it is overkill. Too many people are dying. Women and children are the most vulnerable. And so there needs to be a ceasefire today, right now, and I'm glad that the Vice President used the historic moment of yesterday at the foot of the Edmunds Pettus Bridge to say that enough is enough and that the administration is calling for a ceasefire. All right? All right, that is the end of my Did You Know? Ashley Sharpton is coming up with our third Did You Know of the night. Let's give Ashley a hand.
Thank you. Mine is, well, I'll try to be brief. I welcome your comments. I don't have a question at the end of mine. Most of you, this is an older article from last week, but we thought it was important to share. Jaden, that's what you said your name was? Can you help me with something? You have a phone? You have internet? Okay. Can you look up a word for me? Populist. Populists. And then when I point to you, I'm going to ask you to come read the definition. Is that okay with you? Okay. All right. So the name of this article is If We, the Black Voters, Get Loud, Neither the Tories nor Donald Trump Will Survive. Does anybody know what Tories means? That's right. Excellent, Janka. So basically, it's a term. Say it again one more time, what you said, and then I'll explain. So basically, loyalty to the throne. So it's a term used in England about basically those who are loyal to the throne, right? Right. So some will say they were extremists. Some will say the GOP are extremists. Some will say the far left are extremists. So it depends on whoever's saying it. Okay? Understood? All right. So on both sides, Jaden, I need you. On both sides of the Atlantic, populists are peddling racism. So I want you to define populist for me, and then we're going to talk about what that sentence means. On both sides of the Atlantic, populists are peddling racism.
All right, so populist means a person, especially a politician, who strives to appeal to ordinary people who feel that their concerns are disregarded by established elite groups.
Okay, so with that, definitely clap them up. Wait, don't leave. Christian, help, come in. With that definition, what do you think that sentence means? And Christian, you can stand and help. Just the first sentence.
On both sides of the Atlantic, populists are peddling racism.
Mm-hmm. What do you think that means? Any adults want to help?
Yeah, I don't know.
Come. Yeah. Yeah, because they can't hear you online.
That means that they're pitting both sides to divide against each other, and it's actually a strategy from the enemy because we are the first nation under God. So we are one nation, and then there were France was second, and then it went on and on. So they're dividing. When the artificial intelligence came, they started to take over. They made red versus white, like cowboys and Indians. Then they made black and white, and we're battling each other as we're doing now, but we're actually not battling the enemy. And what the enemy did is when people have businesses, before the COVID, when you go to file your taxes to tax places, they're now being taught and saying, we need a copy of what the IRS sends you with your tax ID number. So you have a social, then you have your business, and that's illegal.
Okay.
And that's why they killed a lot of people.
So
and
we
closed
can come back for statements. But I wanted you, thank you, Jaden, and thank you, Christian, for your help, and thank you for your comment. So let's get back to she was with us, we were with us. Everyone was together, and then she ventured left. All right, so on both sides of the Atlantic, that's one thing we have to focus on with the huddle. We must stay on topic and stay with the question at hand. This mic is a dangerous thing in the wrong hands. All right, anyway, I'm here in the UK, the Reverend Sharpton wrote this. I'm here in the UK to urge black communities to see it for what it is. All right, so about what it is. Donald Trump's racist mentality has long been an open secret. We are clear about that. In the 1970s, a federal lawsuit was brought against him for alleged racial discrimination on one of his housing developments in New York. He led the campaign calling for the death penalty against the Central Park Five, also known as the Exonerated Five, who we all know very well, who were accused of a brutal rape but later vindicated, and rightly so. Even after that exoneration, he continued to suggest that they were guilty. So are black Americans flocking to support Trump? Yes or no? All right, somebody nodded in the back. All right, this is being instruction. Reports are mixed, according to this. And Rev wrote this again. This is Rev's voice. Reports are mixed. Trump himself would tell you he has a unique affinity with the black community, but personally, I don't buy it. Polling in 2020 estimated Trump would take 20% of the black vote. The real number was closer to 8%. After all, let's remember what he says about us. Just last weekend, he said that black Americans identified with him because he had faced criminal charges and that we embraced his criminal mugshot. That was outright racist and insulting. For him to say that during Black History Month in the United States is the epitome of an insult. And the irony is that he is the one being prosecuted, and by black professionals at that. The New York State Attorney General, a friend to the room, Letitia James, brought the financially ruinous civil financial fraud case against Trump. Fannie Willis, Fulton County District Attorney, was responsible for challenging Trump's alleged election interference in Georgia. I spend a lot of time speaking with black voters. I host a U.S. radio show 6 days a week. Again, this is Reverend Sharpton's voice. And from what I hear, I'm not alone in thinking that claims that he has growing support amongst our community are grossly exaggerated. But I do think it is fair to say that black citizens are asking questions of the Democrats. Joe Biden has simply not done a good enough job on messaging. He needs to be more aggressive in speaking to black voters, laying out his record, such as the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, which Trump opposed, and his support for the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, which almost every Republican voted down. Biden should not assume people know what they haven't been reminded of. And I'll say that again, Biden administration, you have to be louder. We need to be louder with your accomplishments for our community if you want votes. We cannot just pander and assume that the votes are just gonna come to you because of Trump. That's my statement as Ashley Sharpton, that's just my opinion. U.S. liberals must understand that if you take the high road and are not making noise about it, no one knows that you're taking any road. They have to be more vocal, they have to challenge more and not run away from the issue of race. That goes for the left in the UK too. Arriving last week, I was disgusted to hear racist Islamophobic language. What does Islamophobic mean? Anybody? Against Muslims, all right. Just making sure we're all on the same page. Islamophobic language being used by members of the Conservative Party. The Tories seem to be alarmingly Trump-like in their language, and that should be a mobilizing cry to millions of black British voters to register to vote. It shocks me that the wider British public doesn't seem to understand the gravity of the threat to black voting in the UK. The UK's new photo ID legislation, similar to some in the South, disproportionately disadvantages black and minority voters. We know similar legislation was used against us in the United States, but black people mobilized against it and in 2021 helped to elect Raphael Warnock as Georgia's first black United States Senator. It shows the importance of fighting back. That's why I came here, we went to London, to tell leaders to use our playbook to challenge laws that suppress the black vote and to impress on black communities the importance of turning out. It is imperative to the democracy that we awaken the black vote in the UK and bring it alive, and we must do it simultaneously in the United States. Biden has an opportunity to expose Trump's lies and get disenfranchised communities back on the same side. To do that, he must be candid. He must openly call out Trump's blatant racism for what it is. He must tell black voters how Trump stacked the courts in a way that is detrimental to them and that he will aggressively fight that. The Democrats still have time to recapture those whom they think they are losing. If they do that, Trump will have no recourse. He can't undo things he has already said and done. You have to turn people on before you can turn them out. And if you turn them on to what is being done to us, what has already been said about us, you can turn people out. Liberal movements in the United States and in the UK have been blindly hoping that people will turn out on their own. But leaders must understand they won't mobilize without a reason. It's not enough to be proud in silence. We need to get loud again. Reverend Al Sharpton, civil rights leader, activist, and founder of the National Action Network. So again, that is a reminder for us, not just across the pond in the UK, but us right here in the United States, that we must be loud and we must make sure that our votes are not taken for granted. We know what's on the table, we know what's at stake. We definitely know what's at stake, but we need to be louder in what we're talking about. A lot of people talk about Trump, and we're distracted, but it's not just about Trump or Biden. This is not personality politics, because personally, I don't like either personally, I don't know them personally. But at the end of the day, we know what Trump wants to do with us. We know what he has done, we already know what's on the record, and we know what's on the record with Biden. We can argue all day from the crime bill, but I'm talking about these last recent years. So what we know we need to help push out there, it's not about your agenda, it's not about talking points, it's about the truth and what's going on in reality. So those who are not afraid and those who know better, we need to speak louder and do better and make sure we get people to the polls to vote. Any questions, comments, statements? All right. Oh, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
My comment is this. I have to agree with what Ashley said about the president and messaging. The Democrats are horrible when it comes down to messaging. That is why the Republicans are able to swoop in and take the House. That's why they are able to swoop in and get Donald Trump back in office. And to be honest, over the last few months that the president and vice president have been campaigning, even though they are current president and vice president, they still have the right to campaign. But I don't feel that they have been campaigning. I believe they've just been making political stops, where they have already been doing that every year. They've already been making political stops, and that's what it looks like. The president was here last week or the week before that to just do campaign fundraising, but campaign fundraising is not talking to the people. I also believe that the president needs to get people on his campaign that know what they're doing. I feel that, there is a lack in the White House already, but, that can be changed in his next administration. But I just truly feel that the president has done things that are good. Okay, it's like what Rev said on Saturday. Everybody has done things in their past. Nobody is perfect. There are some things that Joe Biden has said when he was a senator that none of us should agree with, if you really ask me. He said some very questionable things as Senator Joe Biden. But let's talk about President Joe Biden, that has so far said everything correctly, that has so far been doing everything in his power to get things done. But because of the lack of messaging, it has not been coming into order. And so that's what I have to say on that.
I think that Donald Trump needs to get his own sentence and then be taught the difference between Carl Jung's psychology from a spiritual point of view and Sigmund Freud's psychology from a physical point of view, and so that he can learn how to be a good person. He needs to apologize to that Central Park Five for the things he's done. It's horrible.
Yeah, when I think about politics, I think about me. And initially, I did not watch State of the Union addresses. I did not watch much news at all a long time ago. But these times are different. And we're demanding a lot from the Democrats, but some people just don't have the patience to look at the news and to listen to a whole State of the Union addressed by the president, because it's not exciting, it's just somebody just talking. But the reality of it is, the young people know there's issues that directly affect them now. They don't need to know anything other than those Republicans are not trying to do gun control, the Democrats are trying to do gun control. The Republicans are not trying to reduce school debt, the Democrats are. That's enough to vote for Democrats when it comes to a young person. Now, when it comes to an older person, we know the older people, we know that the Republicans want to stop Medicaid, Social Security, and the Democrats want to continue those services. That affects us. I mean, we know that right now, today. That's enough to vote for Democrats. We may not need all the details, but to know they're going to help us in some way, knowing that the Republicans are trying to take everything from everybody except these rich politicians who are racist. We know that much, and we know enough to vote for democracy. And in this case, the people who want to support democracy is President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. They want to support democracy. Thank you.
All right. Come on, Jonathan.
Well, first I want to say I wonder how President Joe Biden is, because last night I heard that he had high blood pressure or something, but they didn't say too much more. So that's where the Democrats may be not so good in messaging. Now I want to bring forth what we were talking about, the parties, okay? Because the same way they divided red and white America, black and white America, and I was falsely arrested, and one white girl says to me, oh, you think you're tough now because you were arrested? Making it look like, and I was really humiliated. I was ashamed of being arrested because I'm a court worker and government worker. So some people think that, like, it depends on the attitude and what the person's values are. Like in that mental health, life is social, physical, and emotional. So it depends on those three aspects of your attitude. So here at NAN, I heard some people, black people saying their mother still to this day won't say if they're a Republican or a Democrat because that was supposed to be a very private thing. And right now, look at what's happening. They're against each other, and America is in a lot of trouble. So take those things because we all have a point of view. And that what I said, the struggle between the Republicans and the Democrats keep the power. But I am very rich, but I am robbed. And yesterday, I was in my old neighborhood, Throgs Neck, and on St. Patty's Day, they have a party. They gave it for free. Corned beef and cabbage. Now they're charging $10 because robbing me, people are just about money, and the money was all about the church and the pubs, and I'm a drink. That alcohol makes money. The pubs made money for women, infant, and children, Medicare, Medicaid, and the general public does not know this, and I am exposing it. Okay?
She said, I am a drink. I never heard that. Okay. We are rich. She's rich, but she has been robbed. I can say that about the African people. We are rich, but we have been robbed. So I'm taking that from you. Let's go.
We all are rich. Okay, I don't know how many people are getting, like it says, Sandra, a recently poll revealed that 85% of voters have already decided this comes up on my phone. I guess it's from the Democrats.
Okay.
Yeah.
What group?
Joe Biden.
Oh, so you donate, you gave him some money?
They want me to.
Go ahead.
That's what I'm saying.
Go ahead. Read it. You put it up there. I'm just making sure it's clear.
No, it's from Joe Biden's group. 85% of voters have already decided who they will support in 24, and Democrats are strongly committed to President Joe Biden to confirm this. We need to hear from you. 43 more voters in your area before midnight.
Okay, I guess she shared a text she received from the Democrats. All right, so she's gonna vote for him. Technically, we're not supposed to say on this platform, but yeah.
Yes,
I'm
and
voting for him too.
in every organization, we have what they call spies. So even in his cabinet,
agents.
okay, it might be some people that like Trump who try to spoil everything else that's going on. So sometimes we have to look at the people that's working for us, because those people sometimes are working for the opposition.
That's true.
And if they're working for the opposition, they're going to play us, just like spies do. It's one to the other, and you never know they spies until the end of the game. So we have to find out if his cabinet people are really for him, or they playing him and playing the American people.
Thank you. Drops mic. Gina, last comment. Thank you, Mr. Waters.
So, yeah. So, I don't think anybody's playing them. They're probably playing themselves. And what I want to say to that comment is the Electoral College has the lead in this, and they're the only, process to get the president in or out. However, this is what I do want to say. It is not for the president and the vice president to automatically think that every Democrat in every state in the political chain from district leaders up are going to campaign for them. They must come out, they must touch people, talk to people, because they've been going around the country, state to state to state, during their travels as they're working on policies, and that was the time. As soon as they got in office, they should have been campaigning for the next 4 years along the way, knowing what they were going to be up against with 4 or 5, because this is going to be a challenging election. And even though some people of color are not openly saying that they are 4 or 5 supporters, we do have a large population of people of color who are stuck on the misconception that 4 or 5 gave them money. That's all they keep talking about, okay? And so they're in their minds thinking, oh, I might vote for him again. Not me. I'm just saying. This is the commentary that is happening, and we have to educate people on how that money came to them during COVID. It was not 4 or 5 himself.
It was Nancy Pelosi.
Exactly. Who he tried to assassinate, kill, murder, right there with his people at the Capitol. That is outlandish.
Thank you, Gina, for dropping the mic.
You're welcome.
All right, I already know what she's going to say. I'm going to move, because I know you're going to make me mad, Lorianne. I'm moving.
No, actually, I'm not.
No, the leader did it.
The only thing I want to say is really a message to the Democratic Party, because I'm literally watching Trump play himself, right? But I think the Democratic Party needs to just stop assuming that because we're black, we're going to vote Democrat. And I think they take certain things for granted, and that is the reason why you're seeing so much people for Trump, which, like, I'm understanding more now, that may not be in our best interest, but at the same time, the Democratic Party needs to step their game up when it comes to us, because right now I'm watching everybody get help but us, and I have a problem with that, and the Democrats are in charge. They're in the White House. So it's just certain things that make me, I'm reconsidering everything. You know, I'm never...
Oh, praise God.
I'm never permanent on anything.
That deserves more applause. She said she changing her mind.
Yeah, because I'm... But seriously, I'm paying attention a little bit more to a lot of things that are being said by Donald Trump and a lot of things that are being done by Donald Trump. And not only Donald Trump, but his supporters, and his supporters are the problem as far as the Proud Boys and all of the other people. But seriously speaking, if I could send a message to the Democratic Party, it would be stop assuming that we're automatically going to vote Democrat just because that's what our parents and grandparents have done. You have to do something for us. Take us seriously, take our needs seriously, and stop helping everybody but us. Like, we've been here all along, and we're watching more people get help than we are getting. And that is where the problem is. And if you continue to do this, then you're going to lose even more people. So it's time for the Democratic Party to step their game up and take care of African Americans who've been here. And we made this country. We founded this. It's the #1 country because we worked and didn't get paid for it. And everybody else is now coming in and getting paid, which is crazy. So the Democratic Party needs to step their game up. That's it.
Come on.
The problem is we only have 2 candidates, Donald Trump, Joe Biden. Like I said, the Democratic Party just assumes we're going to vote for them because we're black. And that's the problem. Because I remember even Joe Biden, when he was running, said it. If you don't know who to vote for.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you're right. Like I said, I'm agreeing with you. But the problem is they cannot just assume we're going to vote Democrat just because we're black, where they're not taking care of us. That's all I'm saying. Well, then they need to get the message to step their game up. No, listen to what I'm saying.
All right. All right. We're gonna talk about this at the end. So that was a good conversation. We're finished with it. Okay, wait, Miss Crystal has one thing to say.
First of all, the Electoral College is the people that really get these people in office.
Yes.
And to the sister that just got finished talking, I'm out of breath. She said she wished she had a way to get to the Democrats to let them know how she feel. Well, you have your city council people, you have Yousef, Salam, you have the Congress people, Congress, Senate, and what are the other ones?
House of Representatives.
The mayor, all of them. You can go use that $100,000 phone you got. Not you, but whatever.
That's me.
And you can send these people emails.
My phone.
Because last sentence, they always talk about their constituents. My constituents told me this and this and that. Well, guess who the constituents are? It's the people. It's a fancy word for the people.
The people.
So we're the constituents.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. One more comment, and then we closing for the night because y'all done went off.
Yeah, I watch politics a lot. I'll be watching the Republican news, where the Waters and all are making jokes about Biden and his age. To me, and I try to tell people, Biden is the greatest president we had. And the vice president, when he helped Obama get the health care going on.
Now, that's true.
He elected the judges that we got over here. Biden might have did some things back in the past, but he was the greatest president that we had so far. I looked at them. That health care thing was enormous. You know what I'm saying? And then he elected the judges and the people in there. That we can't afford not to vote for Biden. You know what I'm saying? And maybe we could elect Hakeem Jeffries and get in there, you know what I'm saying? To make some changes. So we came too far to let it go because we don't like his age and this and that. We still got a long fight and a struggle to get. And we can't be turning our backs on our leaders like that and disgracing them. That's one thing that we can't do. Right. And the Democrats got to get a little bit more gangster with their stuff, man.
That, sir.
You know what I'm saying? We got to come out hard like the Republicans did. Show some force and unity, man, and respect. I got enough.
All right, Mr. Gilchrist, Lord have mercy. Oh, Lord. That's all right, because we done. We done. Go ahead, Mr. Gilchrist. We done.
I just like to say I love you all, and it's a beautiful rendition of what we're all about. See, I don't know who's not listening to our leader, Reverend Sharpton. Reverend Sharpton gives a sermon every Saturday. And those of you who are not listening and that are here enough know that we don't have a choice. Who's for us? Who's for the people? Who gives the love energy out there? We know what the demons look like. We know who they are. Why do you have a choice? I mean, are you here? Do you come to National Action Network? And don't you listen to what the preacher says?
The preacher!
The sermons that we get every Saturday. He gives us not only a political analysis of what's going on in the world, but a spiritual analysis. We're the real deal.
Yes, yes.
You are the gods. You're looking for you.
That's right.
You're out there running around looking for you. We have the love energy that's possible. I'm sorry. God is real.
Oh, yes.
All right? And power.
All right. We're okay. So we're going to close, but let me say this. What somebody said about the Electoral College is so true. And so you have to know who you are electing into office, because the Electoral College is the people that make it or break it. No, we cut it out. The Electoral College are the ones that make it or break it. So don't feel that your vote does not matter, because you are voting for the people in the Electoral College that ultimately make the decision about who your president and vice president are going to be. And so because this conversation was so big, Dominique will save her Did You Know for next week. Thank you for the sacrifice. Give Dominique a hand just for being here. And so with that being said, because we are done, we are closing at good time tonight. So everybody, y'all been sitting for a long time, so y'all can stand so we can pray and dismiss. Rest on, yeah, you see that feel good? The blood is flowing. Yes. All hearts and minds are clear, right? All right. Let's pray. God, we thank you for this time and this opportunity that you have brought us here today. We thank you for everybody that has contributed to this conversation. Now, God, we ask for your continued blessings. Thank you for our leader, the Reverend Sharpton. God, continue to give him strength as he travels and give him protection as he travels on the highways, the byways, and the plains. Keep him on the road. Keep his plane gliding in the air. Thank you for Ashley, Dominique. Thank you for Miss Kathy and those that prepared the food. Bless each of us individually and collectively. In Jesus' name. And as we leave this place, let us get to our various destinations safely and find all things well. In Jesus' name. Amen. Y'all are dismissed.